Proxy sessions. What are proxy sessions? So we can start and stop proxy sessions in our non-production Workday environment if Workday has a proxy access policy in place, and if the user has proxy access to Workday according to one of the rules in the proxy access policy. We can start proxy and stop proxy sessions by accessing the start proxy and stop proxy tasks. So we have seen in the past that how do we do start proxy and stop proxy. So for example, if I would like to log in as an elevated user here on this tenant, and I say start proxy, and I proxy as Logan McNeil. So in a non-production environment, I can proxy in as a different user to either test, configure, develop, approve, review on behalf of another person in a non-production environment. So far we have been logging in as Logan McNeil, who has HR admin elevated access to the tenant, where she can configure the entire tenant on all aspects of it. So may it be configuration, may it be addition, approvals, or whatever it may be needed, Logan has access to it. So during the proxy section, Workday displays on behalf of the name of the user on whose behalf you are acting in place of the username. So here we can see on the top bar, we see on behalf of Logan McNeil. And here in the profile, it will also show on behalf of Logan McNeil's view profile. So as a proxy user, you can perform any action in Workday that the user on whose behalf you're acting as is authorized, excluding certain functionalities. So excluded functionality is access to documents on My Reports. For example, the tab that Logan may have access in My Reports right here, they will not be accessible to the proxied end user. Any background conversations, business form printing, emails and integrations, mobile push notifications, notifications received through the user interface, scheduled reports and solutions, Workday Drive, and worksheets. So any questions about excluded functionality as to what do they mean, or if you need any clarification on that, I would be more than happy to answer. Saying, let's see what is hiring process. So positions versus position restrictions versus job requisition. So we've heard these names before, and what do they mean? So position is filled position or a chair. Position restriction is unfilled position or a chair. Job requisition, approved request to fill a position or a chair. By chair, we mean a chair that can be held by a particular person or an employee or a worker. Job requisition is required when you need to create a job rec to create a position. So job rec can be sent to the recruiting team for advertisement into external portals or internal portals with other agencies, such as we can post it on LinkedIn. You can post it on other job boards. You can, if you need to advertise it, whatever policy you have for job requisition process, that can be done as well in Workday. It is going to be a request for a position. Create job rec. Say I go to Logan's organization, training and development. Say I want to copy it from one of the job rec already created. So all the specification of the job rec would come from here. Copy details from existing job rec. I press OK. So number of opening is, I want to hire 3 people on this. I give a reason. New position, request additional staff. I'm not going to select any replacement. So post internally or externally. Requisition start date, say I want to start it from, okay, let's select today. It's going to be 21st. Target hire date, say I want to hire this person by, or let's keep it today. And target end date should be, say, by the end of the month, by Friday. So if I have a referral plan, I can select that. So standard referral plan. Then the job details comes in. What is my target end date for the job rec advertised position? So I'm targeting or giving an end date that, okay, this job position or job requisition is going to open till the end of the month. So in terms of advertising in internal and external portals, this is the target date I'm setting for this job rec. Yeah, the requisition will be closed after the end date.
Okay.
It can be extended or it can be changed through the requester, but generally for whatever job rec that you create, you may want to add the end date, but if it's optional, so if you don't want to do that, you can remove the end date as well. This is the dates are just for example. So the
Yeah, but
recruiting start date, for example, I put in today, and the target hire date would be say 30th of July, and I would like to get done with this. If I want to put an end date, say by maximum August 6th, I want to be able to close on this position. So
okay.
target hire date is the beginning hire date. So I cannot hire before target hire date. So if I go to the job profile, say I don't want to select EMEA, so HR manager, and the job description, the details of the job, regular full time. I want this person to be say New York. The content of the job description needs to be
Mm-hmm.
filled in by the user department. Because the location selected was Paris, so let's remove it because we need 40 hours per week. In Europe, some of the countries has a 35-hour per week working schedule. So if I need to fill any other details like questionnaires, I can do that as well. If there's an assessment, I can put in the assessment here as well. Then the qualification details, if I need to fill it in, I can put it in the job rec. So organization, say companies, Global Modern Services UK, HR operations, corporate headquarters. If I need to add any attachments to the job rec, I can attach that. Compensation. So compensation details, the guidelines, the manner compensation package, the grade profile, salary details, the plan name, if it is a merit associated with this job profile, bonus that can be added. Any stock options, if I need to add, I can add them here. And then the review for the entire job rec. If I'm okay with all the changes, I can click on submit, and then it can go to the job rec approval process. All right, so it's not accepting this cost center. So let's see which cost center is available here. Again, being a brand new tenant, we may face some issues on this. So let me see. Okay, so I see a conflict here. So allowed organization is HR services in cost center, and default is 41,600. So that's a mistake. Let's fix this. Now we have allowed two cost centers in the allowed organization. So now if we select 41,600, it should be okay. Let's try to submit it again. $40,500. Oh, I added 41,600. Sorry. CDev course development Logan McNeil. CDev course development Logan McNeil. That should be okay now. 41,500. And what's the other units are required? Which are the units? Now it will go into the business process approval step. If I look at the details, if I click on detail and process, and if I look at the process, so here I can see that Logan has initiated. So create position was the next step. Next step was create position. It does not require any approval. Requisition compensation that did not require any approval. It's automatically completed. Again, requisition compensation, no action required. Then review job application template is now awaiting actions with these people. Let's see if Logan is part of it. So Logan is part of it. If I click on details, I should be able to view details of this, or I can go to my inbox. And I should have a task waiting for me for job requisition. So review job application template says job application default template. So these templates can be defined in your tenant for job applications. If I look at this template, open it in a new window. So this is the template that has been created, and these are all the fields for the template. Say I'm okay with this. I click on submit. I refresh the inbox. Now the next step is posting job. So for example, external carriers and internal select these two and say agency, professional recruitment services, and say I want to preview the job posting. So press OK. So this is what my job posting would look like. The job posting description on the external carrier side. It went to Logan herself because she is also the HR partner or the primary recruiter on the business process. We can look at the business process in a moment. So in the process, we did select it, post internal and external. Yeah, it's if you look at the business process, initiation, actions, review job, edit job requisition. So the restriction is initiators or approvers are excluded from this for review job edit. And then the second D action is post job done by recruiter. So yeah, I see all my postings for internal and external. And if I'm okay with it, I press OK. So now it's asking me when I'm posting the job. So internal, external, professional communication, start date. It's going to be 7/21. When do I want the posting to end? If I would like, I can put a date here, say and say I want this primary posting on the external side. I press submit. And now the job request requisition process has been completed. Now this job process or the requisition number 00412 is now active and advertised. So if I look at the process now, post job has been completed, and if I try to search for this job requisition, the new tab, so I can see that this JR 412 has been advertised, and this is the status of this job rec. So how many candidates, details, organization, qualification, job posting. So you can have all the details about the requisition process that is related to this job. Hiring process, so enter a pre-hire, create pre-hire name, source, or pre-hire contact information. So we will create a pre-hire on the job rec that we created. So screen pre-hire for positions. So edit pre-hire profile, attach resume, identify interviews and interview status, make interview recommendations, hire the pre-hire into a position, and enter. Let's try to create a pre-hire. So on this position, say I want to create a pre-hire. If I
So,
have a pool of pre-hires already in my system that people have been applying and they're already pre-hires in the database from them, either I can create it myself or people can apply from the internal or external portal and they will be added to the pool of pre-hires. Ben Stevens, so I can add at least an email address. So Ben at stevens.com. And this is your home address. I can say source was say LinkedIn and say it was referred by Julie Powell. So for example, I used a hire date of say tomorrow, 22nd. So it's a new hire, say new position. Job requisition says it was 412. I'm using the job requisition that we just created. Say, let's hire this person in London. And the rate type is going to be salary. Submit. So now we have hired Ben Stevens with hire date on 7/22, but we have not had any compensation plan details for them. So here the compensation is not mentioned. And if I look at the job and organization, so the organization details would be populated because we added the cost center. Let me look into it. Let me get back to you with an answer to this. I believe we can. So I go to action and I can go to compensation and say request compensation change. Generally speaking, the proposed compensation would be done in the hiring process. It should be part of the hiring process. Before, oh, we hired him tomorrow. It is not accurate. As I said, that the proposed compensation should be part of the business process hire, the BP hire. So here, I don't have any steps for hiring or any instructions for hiring. So for example, for the next hire, let's add a step here, business process, edit 720. And I add the step B action, propose compensation hire. And I assign it to HR partner. Let's add another action. Let's do action and review employer. HR admin. Okay, so we've added two more steps, B and C. So the next hire we will do, it will automatically propose compensation for that worker that we are hiring. Before, there was no steps or workflow defined for hire default definition. So as we didn't have this, so hence I'm assigning a compensation package for Ben Stevens. Let's see if I can do propose compensation. Propose. I cannot run it directly as a task. It has to be done by the business process. So for now, I will do a request compensation change for this worker. Say employee visibility date, I select that employee should be able to view it by the 22nd, the day that person is hired. Compensation guidelines. Say what compensation rule. Management, grade is going to be management, grade profile can be United Kingdom, and I add the salary information, select the salary plan, and say the range that it's showing me is between 52, 71, and 90,000. So say I give this person 72,000, and this is going to be annual in GBP currency. Say if there's any bonus plans associated to it, I can add bonus management, and say 15%. And I can press submit. What's left? Oh, reason is required. So say adjustment. Now, if I look at the compensation for Ben Stevens, I should be able to see his base pay, incentive pay. I click on compensation. I can see salary and allowances, total base pay, and salary and allowances in totality. It will always show me the local currency based on the location of that person where he is hired. So it will show Great British Pound, and it will also show me a conversion, which is the rate defined for the company as a headquarters or as the top level supervisory organization. Workday will do an auto calculation for currency conversion based on the pay rate type or rate type within the system. So this rate was updated on 28th February 2019. So it has not been updated since then. So it's using the rate effective February 28, 2019. Here it's showing me the compensation package, the grade profile, the base pay range, the company, and the plans that has been assigned to this worker, salary and bonus management. So let's see if we can set up a pre-hire. So let me go back to the supervisory organization. Let me see if I can hire an employee again. So existing pre-hire. So there are none. Let's create another one. So it doesn't let me pre-hire from the portal directly. So all the pre-hires would have to come through the job portals. Let me check just in case. BP pre-hire, hire contact details, default definition, ready for hire, pre-hire contact details for global market services. So pre-hire is not set up on this tenant, but I'll try to set it up on this tenant in our next session so we can go through it one more time. Because it'll take me some time to set it up and configure the business process to make sure that it's working properly with the security and the permissions and linking it with the job portals. Because we cannot pre-hire right now in the current tenant, so we would not be able to do the first step, the second step, and the third step. But we have done the fourth and fifth step for hiring an employee into a position and enter compensation package information. So I will come around to the first three steps in our next session. Pre-hire someone you'll track before employment. The Workday recruiting application seamlessly guides pre-hires through the recruiting lifecycle. Workday allows you to create and track pre-hires through the 8 till 11, and we will revisit it tomorrow again. So in the hiring process, we require a hire date, position, job profile, time type, location, and scheduled weekly hours. So whenever we create a location, like we've created positions, we have created job profiles, we've seen the time type, that's either it's a full-time or a part-time. And when we create a location, like we were using New York so far, so what is it required to when we create a location? So for example, say test or New York. In the location usage, I can say it's a business site, or it's an instructional site, it's housing, is campus, or any other type of location usages that we may have. We can have more than one types as well. All right. So a workspace cannot be a business site. Okay, so let's remove the workspace. First, it'll ask me for the location type. So I want to call it, say, it's a service center, for example. Location attributes. If I have any specific attributes for that location, they can be created and added here. So currently, I don't want any attribute. Say superior location, I want the superior location for this to be, say, New York. So when I add the superior, it will create the hierarchy for that location. Similarly, like we have in supervisory organization hierarchies, it will create the location hierarchy as well. So if I have a website for this location, I can add it in the external URL. If I have any global location numbers for that location, I can add it here. Say ABC 123L -US. US underscore Northeast. If I have any identifier 12345-B, okay, it must be in numeric. Oh, okay. Global location number must be 13 digits long. All right. So this is a standardized GLN number that I'm not aware of, so I'm not going to use it. And for location identifiers, say I can put my own code. If it's a default shipped location, I can select it. And if I have my GPS coordinates for that location, I can add those GPS coordinates here as well. Additionally, I need to add a location attribute can be, let's open it up. So location attribute can have a combination of location usages, and we can assign a name to it. So like it's a business site, training room, and a workspace. So it's got 3 location usages. And when I have more than one location usages, I can assign it as an attribute name, like a training center facility downtown New York, which could be my business site and it could be my workspace as well. So I go to contact information, provide a phone number, say 907-801-2443, landline, and this is going to be my primary phone number. I can have more than one. I need to assign at least one primary phone number in the address or in the location. Say address can be 9910 East 21st Street, Suite 1100, City. So 1001. I can use that. I could add an address, say uh, office at DT NYC, or whatever my email address for that particular office may be. And I need to mark it as primary. So I've added three contact informations for my contact information. And if I go to business side, one thing that I really need to select is that time profile. So for generally speaking, mostly it's like 8 hours or 9 hours per day. So if it's 8 hours per day, 5 days a week, so that's 40 hours. If somebody is in a region where there's 9 hours a day, so we can use 45 hours. Like in Paris, it's like 7 hours or 6 hours a day. So it's 35 hours. So we have to specify the time profile for that area or the location that we are creating. So I'll select, say, 8 hours a day, so standard 40 hours, United States. So for the location, I can set up the locale information, and this will pull up the date format, time format for that location or for that locale. Time zone, I can set it up as this is in New York, so I can set it up, say, -5 Eastern Time, Halifax. Display language, it will default it at English, but if I need to change the display language for all the people in that location, I can do that as well. So Workday, anybody who is in that location would see a different language in their tenant. Country's default currency, if I need to override this, I can do that in location default currency. And if I have any external name or default job posting location, I can add this information here. So when creating your contact or your location, so the time profile is very critical. The contact information is needed, and in the details, you can add these informations. And do keep in mind that if you're creating a new location in a given country, for example, you're opening a new office. Say you had an office in Houston, and now you're opening an office, and here, say New York, you need to define the superior location in order to maintain the hierarchy. So here I can say United States as my superior location. So I'm making it part of the USA home office location. So whenever we select the USA home office, New York test location will be part of that location. It will be a subordinate location for the home office USA. So now we've created our test location as well. And we've seen what does the scheduled weekly hours mean when creating that location and how it can translate into the working hours for that location. Configurable security. So configurable steps for business process. Let's start with that. So a business process is a set of configurable steps used to complete a larger overall task, such as hiring an employee. What are the configuration steps for setting up the process for BP hire? So who can initiate the business process? who can take actions in the business process, who can approve the overall actions on the business process like view, rescind, cancel, and correct, and any policy restrictions such as delegation, comments, and attachments. So how do we set that up? So as we just worked on the BP hire, so let's look at that business process again, and let's try to see how we can do the configurations on the BP hire. So again, I can open the business process. So I'll use a shortcut for BP as business process shortcut, colon, and say hire. And here I'll see on the top that who can initiate this BP hire business process. So the initiating groups are HR administrator, partner, and all these people can initiate, who are members of these security groups, can initiate the hire business process in this tenant. So if I need to configure the security settings for any given business process, so I go to the related action buttons, go to the business process policy, and I should be able to edit it. So I see that Logan does not have permissions to edit business processes or set up security on the business process. So I need to look at her security permissions, security profile, view security groups that she has. And let me see that if she does not have security admin added for Logan. So I can go to view security group. And see who are the members. And I'll check if Logan is part of this. So Joy Banks is part of this. And Logan is not assigned the security group. So let's try to assign the security group to Logan as well. So favorites, reports, roles, security group, test membership. Let's test it out. User is Logan. So the answer is no. Roles, copy role assignment. So it's a user-based security group. I should be able to add users to. For now, let's log in as Unibowels or Joy Banks, who has access to security settings on this tenant. Start proxy, Joy Bank, CPP hire. Okay, so she does not have access to Let me see if I can log in into the community tenant. Say BP hire. And yes, I have access here on this tenant. So I need to look at the security permissions for our tenant and see that Logan has access to editing security groups. Why is it not there? So I need to add that in. So I will review it myself and I'll let you know. So when I go to the business process, how do I make changes to security? So I can go to the related actions button, go to business process policy. I can either view or edit it. So currently we want to edit it. Then I have sections in my security policy for business processes. So the first section is who can start the business process, the initiating action. So which security groups can do this? So it can be added here. So for example, HR partners, recruiter, let's say HR admin. So I'm giving permission to these three security groups who can initiate the hire employee business process. Now the web services is for integration or bulk loads. So who can perform bulk loads by the web service or by data services? So these are the people who can run a bulk load on this hire employee through the EIB or integration. Then the third type of initiating action is if it's a contingent worker, can it who can convert it to employee? So these people can convert a contingent or a contractual worker to an employee. Who can delegate this action? So managers are allowed to delegate these actions to other people in their team. So initiating actions hire employee, the description and the groups that who can initiate the action and who can delegate this action. So add employee status to academic affiliate. I can set up the permissions here. Hire employee. The permissions are defined here. Then hire student, hire employee background services. Then again, hire employee for former workers and active students and so on. So I can set up the security groups here. So hire employee for the related actions menu for pre-hire. Who can do it? Here I can add the security groups, and all different initiation types can be added in the initiation section. Next is the who can do an action step in the business process. And the action definition is review employee hire. So these are the security groups who can review in the business process step. Who are the reviewers? Say verify proposed employee ID. If I had a security group specifically for this step, if I have this action defined in my business process, I need to assign a security group for that. Assign worker record. If I'm using this action step, I can assign it to specific security groups. Next section is who can do an who can do an action on entire business process. For example, view all. So who can view the higher business process steps or all the information on the business process. So view all, view completed only, so employee itself. Who can take the approval steps? So these are the approvers defined in this security for this business process. If there's an ad hoc approval, who are the security groups that can do an ad hoc approval? Similarly for cancel, for web services, for cancel web services, for recent web services, for correction, reassignment. Who can reassign task? I can define and select the groups who can reassign the task. Manually advance, deny web service, and redirect. You can set it up in the business process. So when we start discussing business process in detail, we will select those parallel and sequential configuration for business processing. All can deny means all the users on the tenant. So there are about 885 people on this tenant, and that comprises of all the people. So this should not be here. So anybody can deny this business process, so we should remove it from here. So delegation process is available in Workday, and you can delegate it to your peers, you can delegate it to your junior, or you can delegate it to a senior. It all depends how we have set it up on our tenant. So it can be done at the peer level or at the junior level or to any superior organization or superior as well. If we don't cover it, do remind me on that, and I'll show you how the delegation works. Okay, now these are the high level or the global level on the entire business process policy restrictions. So if I want to allow business process delegations, even with if the policy is in place, I can disable it from here, and the delegation will not happen for this business process. All the comments that we put at the end before the approval, the comment box, if I want to hide those comments from the worker, I can do that. If I want to hide details of the business process, I can hide it from workers, I can disable comment, and I can even enable unrestricted escalations as well if need be. Also, in every business process, there is a section for attachment. So if I want to enable attachment in the higher business process, I can do that. Then if I do enable it, then I can set up all these permissions, or I can disable the attachment option in the business process. And the last option on the global level is allow attachment within emails. So if I press OK, so whatever changes I've made to the security of the business process are not implemented as yet. So whenever I make changes to the business process, it's currently saving and it's taking some time now. So I have to run a task after making any changes to the security policy on the business process. I have to run a task called activate pending security policy changes. Activate pending security policy changes. So I have to run this task and say I give a comment, changes to BP. So I can give a comment for the change, the activation of the security policy changes that I'm making. I press OK. And currently it did not register the changes because it signed me out, but then it'll list all the changes and all the domains and the security policy that are being impacted. And once I confirm, it will put a timestamp on that security changes that I've made. And all the changes that I made in the security policy for the business process will then be activated. Generally speaking, the security activation of pending security policies should be with the security administrator in the company. And in a larger organization, it would be the HR admin would be with a different person, and the security admin role would be with a different person. To maintain the level of security, depending on the policy of the company that you're working with or your tenant owners, depending on their policies, this can be given to one single person like the HR admin, or it can be the security admin permissions can be given to a different person as well.